Welcome everyone to this recorded lecture for Writing 1010 with Professor J.J. Johnson. As I mentioned last week, I'm going to be traveling on Monday, December 6th. So in place of our normally scheduled Zoom session, the idea is to review this YouTube video and then complete a short journal. So I figured we'd look at two things. Firstly, just a quick review of the genre analysis essay that's due on Wednesday, December 8th. And really just a review more of the different resources you have at your disposal. That's kind of what I wanted to remind folks of. And then I'll talk about the assignment that you're doing in place of our normally scheduled Zoom session. So it's a journal. It's in the journal section on Blackboard, and I'll kind of review it. It's pretty straightforward. It's just various different examples of genres, a warning on a bottle of Tylenol, a pamphlet from the American Cancer Society, a memoir written by a soldier, a text, a tweet. All of those things are texts, right? And remember, we talked about texts coming in all these different shapes and sizes. And the job for the journal that you'll do in place of class for Monday, December 6th, is essentially look at these different examples of genres and then answer questions about what their audience is, what their purpose is, what the typical content is, what the structural features are, and what the linguistic features are. Now, that's exactly what you're doing for the genre analysis essay. So it's really just more practicing the skill of rhetorical analysis of various genres. That's really what the journal is asking you to do, to sort of hone those skills on asking the pertinent questions. Who's the audience? What's the purpose? And so on and so forth. So first things first, let me remind you about the resources you have at your disposal for the big first major assignment, which is the genre analysis essay. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll go on sort of a virtual field trip here. So if you're in our classroom, of course, you're going to navigate to the Unit 1 genre theory area. Now, here's the actual assignment. So this is where you'll be submitting. Let me make sure that my cursor is visible. This is where you'll actually be submitting the assignment, the genre analysis essay, in the assignment here that's highlighted in blue. Now, you can click on this assignment sheet. It's a PDF essentially that just tells you the assignment particulars. And to submit the assignment, the sort of step-by-step logistical things that you're doing to submit any Blackboard assignment, really any Blackboard major assignment, I should say. Discussion boards are slightly different, journals are slightly different. But for this, you just click on genre analysis essay assignment, and it'll bring you to the assignment submission page. And from here, you're going to attach your essay. So you'll see there's an option to write submission. You don't want to do that. You're not writing your essay directly in Blackboard. You're attaching a file. So you'll click browse local files, and you'll find your document, your genre analysis essay document, and upload it. And you have to click this, I agree to submit my paper. So you have to click this little box and then you click submit, and you will officially submit the assignment. So that's due by the end of the day, Wednesday, December 8th. If you have a problem with the due date or you have questions, of course, as I said in the very first day, the first week, and I've mentioned in my emails and my announcements, reach out. If you have questions, reach out and let me know. We can work together. I think so far this group has been great about reaching out with questions. I just got off a Zoom with the student a few minutes ago where we were brainstorming ideas for their genre analysis essay. And by the time we were done, I think we had a really good outline of what they're going to come up with. And they had some great insights on what they want to put in their essay. All right, so that's the steps of how to submit the assignment. But remember, you have a ton of resources at your disposal as well. In addition to the recordings of our Zoom sessions, if you ever want to go back and look at one of the recordings, you can just navigate to Zoom Classroom in recordings. And here's the actual recordings of each of our classes we've had so far. But you also have other resources at your disposal. Remember the PowerPoints we looked at last Wednesday. Those are available here. And you also have this folder in the Unit 1 area, genre analysis, essay examples, and resources. So this is going to be really helpful, especially sort of being able to visualize what your genre analysis essay will look like when it's done. Now, none of your, each of your assignments is going to look slightly different from your neighbors, even though we're, digital neighbors because we're not meeting in person. But, each person is going to be a little bit different with their genre analysis, because depending on what it is you're analyzing is going to sort of dictate the way that your essay is going to look. The organizational structure will be essentially the same for all of you, but some of you may have screenshots in your essays, some of you may not. So I've put two examples here, one that is based on a written genre, like a personal narrative or a novel, or, a book of poetry, an anthology, a memoir, a diary, a creative nonfiction, whatever, so that you will see that here. The first example is an example of what your genre analysis essay would look like if you're writing on something that's written. So remember, you're writing an APA format, and I have resources to help you with that as well. But this is essentially what your assignment will look like. Now, this big yellow box, you're not going to put that in your essay. That's just a text box that I've put in there with some sort of insights on how to help you write this. So you'll have a title, you'll have your name, the school, and then you essentially just go into your essay. Now, again, the purple text that you see throughout this is really just information from me. So it's commentary. We call it meta commentary or meta comments. So like, comments within comments, explaining what to do. So this is an example of a finished genre analysis, this one written on a piece by Alice Walker called Beauty When the Other Dancer is the Self, which is a personal narrative that she wrote. If you're familiar with who Alice Walker is, she's a Pulitzer Prize winning author. She wrote a book, Color Purple. And this is a short story, a true story. So it's a personal narrative. It's nonfiction about her life. She was shot in the eye with a BB when she was really young and left with not only a blind eye, but like a really gnarly scar over her eye. And it caused her to be socially ostracized and bullied and picked on. And she was somewhat of this whiz kid student, almost a prodigy. And then she went from this really, outgoing, optimistic young girl to a sullen, self-harming, depressed, borderline suicidal person after this accident. That's what this narrative is about. So why did I summarize it for you? Because depending on what you write, you're going to want to offer at least some summary to your author, or to your reader rather. And that's, again, what these comments are going to help you with. They kind of give you an overview of how to write something. And this is if you're writing on a written genre. Now, let's say that you're writing on social media. So the example here is from a student who wanted to analyze the tweets of Tom Brady. And so a rhetorical analysis of Tom Brady's tweets, you would look at a number of different tweets, probably 3 would be a good solid number. And this essay will look slightly different, still as a title page, still has an intro, but you'll notice that the student has embedded screenshots of the tweet. So if you're analyzing something visual or a social media presence of someone, it's not a bad idea to put screenshots in there. For tweets, you'd have to, because we want to be able to see the text. I mean, theoretically, you could copy and paste the text of the tweet, but to put it bluntly, that's probably okay for for high school level work. But at college, you really want to kind of go the extra mile. So you want it to look professional and polished like the way this essay does, and using your desktop publishing skills to learn how to put images into a document. If you need help with that, I'm happy to do so. But this is kind of what your essay would look like if you are analyzing things that are visual. All right. So there's the resources you have at your disposal in terms of examples, what finished examples will look like. But I want to point your point to something that's going to be particularly helpful on this page or in this folder, which is the genre analysis essay template. So you'll see that right here. I'm going to open that. Let me stop sharing my screen this way and go directly into sharing Word. Sorry, give me a second here. There we go. Why is it not showing up? There it is. Okay. So this genre analysis essay template is essentially a Word file that's prefabricated in proper format. So if you don't know how to set up a Word file in APA format, right, because the essay has to be written in APA format, and you're like, I don't know what the heck that means. You don't need to. Just open this template and use it. And as a matter of fact, save this template to your local drive. And anytime from here until the end of the world, that you need to write something in APA, just open this template. The font's correct, the font size correct, the margins are correct, the spacing is correct, the title page is correct, the heading is correct, the header is correct. Those are two different things. So everything's already there. You know, when you open a new Word file from scratch, it's not in proper format at all. No academic format matches a default Word file. You have to change font size, spacing, margins, all that stuff. So rather than having to do that, just use this template. So it says type your title here. So you would put your title where it tells you. Again, let me make sure that my mouse's cursor is available. Type your title. You know, you want to get rid of this stuff, right? So the stuff that the sort of comments that I have throughout, of course, get rid of those. You can just double click in the header to put your last name and page number there. This yellow box, just like the PDF examples, is just meta commentary, kind of walking you through what to do. And the reason this will be helpful is it has the organizational structure already set up for you. The introduction, introduce your genre. What is it? Is it an online blog? Is it Twitter? Is it is it a person's podcast? Is it a diary? Maybe it's a website. Maybe it's a streamer that you watch on YouTube or some other video platform, right? That would be the intro. You're going to tell us, probably go from the broad to the specific, talk about the genre at first, you know, YouTube, a little bit of information about YouTube, and then the next paragraph specific about the YouTuber you're looking at. And then purpose and audience, right? So tell us what's the purpose of the genre example you're looking at? Who's the audience of the genre example you're looking at? That would be 2 paragraphs. Typical content. You know, if you're looking at a streamer on YouTube, they probably have similar content in each one of their videos. So you'd want to give us some insight into that, not just summarizing what the content is, but remember, this is a rhetorical analysis. We're interested in what the rhetorical effect is on the listener or viewer or reader. So why does the content creator structure things the way they do? How does it affect you as the reader? So typical content, structural features, linguistic features, and a conclusion. So again, those resources are going to be particularly helpful when it comes time to write the actual genre analysis essay, and I encourage you to use them. Most importantly, you know, if you have questions, be sure to reach out and let me know. But now I want to talk about what you're doing in place of class on Monday, December 6th. So again, I'm going to share my screen, and what we'll do is go, maybe I won't, because what I wanted to share is not there. There it is. All right. So I'm going to share Safari specifically. So you're going to the journal section of the classroom, journals, right? So you're going to click on journals and you'll see the journal in question. It says Monday, December 6th journal. Now, right now it's unavailable to you because I'm going to make it available basically Sunday night, but it's available to you now. I'm sorry, it will be available to you during class time on Monday or before class time. If you want to, you know, finish it up prior to class, that's fine. So here's the assignment. This is the journal that you're doing in place of Monday's class. It works in conjunction with this YouTube video. So the first step is basically you're watching this video. The next step is complete the journal. Instructions, answer the 5 questions regarding each genre example below. What are the 5 questions? You'll see them right here. Who is the audience? What is the purpose? What is the typical content? What is the structural format? What is the linguistic format? So that probably looks familiar to you because those are the 5 main things that you're touching upon in your genre analysis essay, right? So this is, like I said, just sort of practicing genre analysis and the rhetorical analysis of various different genres. So the actual examples are down here. There's 4 of them. The warning on a bottle of Tylenol, a mailing from the American Cancer Society asking for donations to help fight cancer, a World War II wartime diary written by an Army medic, and a research article in which the author attempts to convince readers to recycle more and to be less wasteful. So those are your 4 genres. You have to answer these 5 questions about each one of these 4 genres. So let's pretend like we're doing this. I'll just do create journal entry and pretend like we're writing the first one. Now I'm going to cancel out of it just so I can go back to it. But just to remind you, that's how you do journals. You click create journal entry and then you put the content in the box there, or you attach a file, whatever is best for you. For example, if I go back into that, you'll see browse local files. So you can upload a file to journals just as much as you can put text in there. All right, let's do the first one together so you guys get an idea. So the warning on a bottle of Tylenol. All right, so first question, who is the audience? Well, most people will look at this, and the idea of rhetorical analysis is to go further than the obvious. The obvious one is people who buy Tylenol, duh, right? Well, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that is the audience for the warning on a bottle of Tylenol. Who else might be the audience for that? Maybe it's people who don't buy Tylenol. That is someone who came across a bottle of Tylenol and isn't familiar with the contents and what they should know about them. So it's not just consumers of Tylenol. It's people who come across a bottle of Tylenol. It's also people who are caretakers of others, nurses, home health aides, people that you hire to help care for you. Or maybe it's for a son or a daughter that's caring for their elderly parent, or a parent that's caring for their young child, right? So it's not just consumers of Tylenol. You have to sort of go beyond that and think about, wait a second, the audience of this warning on a bottle of Tylenol is much deeper and much more comprehensive when I really think about it. That's rhetorical analysis, going beyond that first blush sort of knee-jerk response that you have that usually is going to be really obvious, right? So the first, again, who is the audience? A warning on a bottle of Tylenol? Duh, people who buy Tylenol. Yeah, that's part of it, but it's much larger, as we just talked about. What's the purpose? All right, well, we talked about the different types of purposes: expressive, informative, persuasive, advertisement, entertainment, right? So what is the purpose of a warning on a bottle of Tylenol? Well, it's out of the different purposes we discussed last week, it kind of falls under the umbrella of informative. It's not trying to persuade you necessarily. It's not trying to express or entertain you. It's really just informing you, right? So purpose, informative. Typical content might seem obvious. Well, it's about stuff in Tylenol and how to take Tylenol appropriately. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, sure, it's that. But think about it. What does it really have? When you think about a warning on a bottle of Tylenol, what specifically is the content? Well, it's probably going to give you dosage instructions, which will really be broken down by, age group and demographic in terms of ages, how much to give to each age. And it's going to inform you about not just dosage, but things to be aware of. At what point do you call poison control? If someone takes too much, what do you do? All that stuff is going to be on there. So yeah, it's going to have information, but again, I'm talking about being specific. Structural format. Picture it. Picture a bottle of Tylenol. All right. Now picture the little label. I can picture it in my head right now. Okay, so it's mostly black lettering, but I feel like unless I'm making it up in my head, some of the text is bold, some is multicolored in red, really important stuff. I think they put in red, right? So just out of the gate, the structural format, it's not just explaining what the structural format is, but why they do that. So why is some stuff bold? Why is some stuff a different font color? Well, because it affects you differently. It draws attention and emphasis to a particular word or group of words, right? So structural format is beyond just, oh, it's a bunch of little letters on a bottle. No, it's more than that when you really think about it. Linguistic formats. Linguistic has to do with the wording used and its sort of level of formality, slang, vocabulary. Linguistics for this, easy, professional, edited, but also easy to understand. They're not going to write in complex, compound, complex sentences with, multiple independent clauses joined together by coordinating conjunctions. If you guys remember your grammar, right? They're not going to write in those sorts of sentences with, a coordinating conjunction joining together two full sentences and then like extra words with a semicolon tacked on. Why? Because they need the warning to be understandable to anyone who reads it, not just those who are able to read at a high level. Right? So that's an example of rhetorical analysis. Why in the world would we do that? Why am I asking you to think about the warning on a bottle of Tylenol? Because remember, the idea of genre theory is you're going to do so many different types of writing in your life, right? You're going to do so much different writing, and we can't teach you how to do every different type of writing. I can't teach you how to give meetings from a minute and an inter-office memo and a quarterly budget report all in one semester. I can't teach you that, right? But what I can teach you is how you fake it, how you look at a piece of writing and say, I'm going to figure out who the audience and the purpose and the content and the format is, and then I'm going to go do it myself. So if I came to you now and I said, all right, go mock up a warning bottle on a warning label on a bottle of medication, guess what? You could actually do it. You could probably come up with a pretty convincing fake label. And that's the point of genre theory, is that it teaches you not necessarily how to master each type of genre, but rather how to analyze the most important parts of each genre so you can go do it yourself. So we just did that one together. I say we do it together, even though I just did it, but you'll do the next three: a mailing from the American Cancer Society asking for donations, a World War II, sorry, it's late, wartime diary written by an Army medic, a research article in which the author attempts to convince readers to recycle more and be less wasteful. So those are the three you want to focus on when you complete this journal. Just a quick piece of information. So as I shared with you, I'm traveling to Pennsylvania because I have to help my elderly mother with a surgical procedure and help her with her post-op care. I am usually in Henniker and 2 feet away from NEC. I live right down the street and I'm always available 9 to 5. That's my big claim to fame, is like my office hours are all day, because basically I do things digital. You want to meet up, let's FaceTime, let's Zoom, whatever. We can pick up the phone at any time between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And I try to make myself available. Having said that, the week of December 6th will be a little bit different. I'll be sort of, tied up. Doesn't mean I'm not available, but just be aware that my response time is going to be a little bit longer. So don't feel pressured to have to make that December 8th due date for the analysis essay, for the genre analysis essay. If you are really lost and not sure, and you're like, I don't want to turn in a pile of crap writing that I don't understand what I'm doing, let me know. Send me a text or an email and I'll give you an extension. I'm fine with extensions. I prefer a well-written piece more so than a student meeting some arbitrary deadline. So if you need more time, let me know. What you don't want to do is not submit it and not tell me. And then 4 weeks from now, you send me an email and say, hey, remember that assignment from 4 weeks ago? I needed a 4-week extension 4 weeks ago. So let's get in a time machine and go do that. Right. So just let me know ahead of time. Really, I'm not telling you anything I haven't already said. And I sort of highlighted this in our first class, but the takeaway from everything I just said over the last 5 minutes is reach out. When you need something, let me know. The last thing you want to do is be, sort of persona non grata, where I don't know where you are or what you're doing or what's happening with you. So just stay in contact with me. All right. That's your Monday, December 6th class. And of course, the essay is due Wednesday, but for the journal, the idea is to complete that journal that's entitled Monday, December 6th. Look at those different genre examples and answer the 5 questions about audience, purpose, content, structure, and linguistics. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in our Wednesday Zoom on December 8th, which is, as of right now, is on. I'll be away from home, so I'll be doing this Zoom in someone's office or in someone's bedroom or something, but as of now, it's on. Reach out with questions when you have them, folks. I'm looking forward to seeing you all soon.